This time I'm busy with business roles. And our topic for question 4 is team performance and conflict management. I bet you're all starting to laugh now because you know of that team that performs really, really well, or you know of a serious conflict that exploded, and we're now sitting with the topic. And therefore, it becomes a really important topic because you see it in everyday life. You see the team performance. You are working as a class team to perform for your school in terms of your academics. And guess what? You're not always going to agree with your business teacher. And he or she is going to give you techniques of how to resolve conflict within the classroom, within the workplace. And these two topics are very important in general life. So when we look at these two questions that we are going to look at in our booklet, we are going to look at different types of questions where we identify certain aspects, whether it be successful criteria of a team performance or whether we're looking at stages of team development. We're going to look at question 4 in terms of teams and conflict. Firstly, I would like to, first from the word get-go, say that there is a difference between a criteria and a characteristic when it comes to successful teams. Criteria for successful teams serves as a guideline. I'm guiding you as to how the team should interact with each other when we're working on a project. When we look at a characteristic, here I'm not guiding you. I'm simply saying to you that this is a trait. This is how I distinguish the characteristics. So when I look at a successful team, I'm looking at teams that are often built around individuals whose joint contribution to goals of the team enable a team to be successful. One individual cannot make a team, but taking an individual and allowing their contributions to be added allows the goals of the team to kick in and be successful. So this next question allows us to identify criteria of a successful team or for a successful team. So there are statements, and the statements relate to criteria that is applied by Sankey engineering. So I'm asking you to apply what you have learned in your classroom already as a successful team performance, and I'm looking for the criteria. I'm not looking for anything else. I'm not looking for anything but the criteria. 4.1.1, team members meet deadlines with a commitment to reaching the team's goals. Now give me a criteria that links up with successful teams. For 2 marks, 1 criteria. When I look at the sentence, I am looking at meeting the deadlines with a commitment in reaching the goals. I have committed to reaching the goals. How am I going to do that? The team members meet the deadline. It's agreed upon that the deadline is there, so therefore we have the same shared value. because we agreed to meet the deadline. We've made that commitment. So we are shared values, mutual trust and support. I cannot make the deadline without my team members supporting me. When we look at 4.1.2, all the team members participate in decision making, highlighting participate and in decision making. I cannot emphasize enough, when you participate in decision making, it's not just your decision. It's not just about cooperating because you need to get the job done and, oh, we need to sit here and make a decision. It's about collaboration. So yes, you're going to lean towards another answer, but I need to cooperate because it's decision making and we all make the decision collectively together. We come together and we collaborate. Collaboration. 4.1.3, they have an open, honest discussions leading to effective solutions to problems. Grade 12s, when I'm open and honest, I'm giving you how I see things. So therefore, what am I doing with you? I am having a discussion. I am communicating with you. So therefore, the criteria for a successful team is communication. If you are a football team, a hockey team, a rugby team that are on the field and nobody knows what you are going to do, how do you tell somebody what you're going to do? By means of communication. I'm having an open, honest discussion with you, and I'm saying to you, grade 12s, you don't know your criteria for successful team performance. Straight away, you know that I am communicating with you, and discussions lead to effective solutions to problems. But I can only do that if I can communicate with you. 4.1.4. Team members have a positive attitude of support and motivation towards other members of their team. The word attitude, positive attitude, gives it away. Positive attitude. When I look at my criteria, again, I'm going to specify it's a guideline. How should I interact with my team? I need to have a positive attitude. Great. Why do I need to have a positive attitude? If my attitude is positive, I am going to have good interpersonal attitudes and behaviors. Remember, it's a criteria. Interpersonal attitude and behavior. I need to be able to guide you on what I want us to do as a team in order to be successful. 2 marks each. It is based on the criteria for successful team performance. Four point 2 deals with the stages of team development. I'm going to caution you here. I'm going to say grade 12s. Please make sure that you are not going to confuse the description of stages of team development with criteria for successful teams. Criteria comes first. It's a guideline. How do I want to see my team being guided? What do I need to do? When I look at stages of team development, I'm now looking at I'm starting at this stage. I'm building the foundation. I'm coming together. I'm building the foundation. I'm then moving on to the next one. But please remember, grade 12s, when we identify stages of team development, you cannot just write stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have to indicate what stage of team development you are talking about. Your stage 1 and my stage 1 can be two different stages. I could be starting at mourning and you could be starting at forming. So please make sure you practice. You write the stage of team development out. Also, please do not confuse. Learners love confusing storming and norming as a stage. Storming is when things are really rocky. There is conflict. When we're norming, remember, we're cruising down the river with our paddle and the river in our boat, and we're going along very leisurely. It's conciliation. I'm settling down. Storming, conflict. We do not agree. When I norm, it gets to the normal way of doing things. I'm settling down. I'm reconciling. When we look at the question 4.2, I need to identify the stage of team development applicable at each of the following statements. Please take note. 4.2.1. Team members have differences of opinion. They have differences of opinion, but they resolve them quickly in order to achieve their goals. Now, the learner sees, oh, there's a difference in opinion. That's conflict. But grade 12, the sentence continues. But we resolve them quickly in order to achieve our goals. We settle down quickly and we achieve our goals. Therefore, the stage would be norming. 2 marks for one stage identified. Now let's look at 4.2.2. Some team members find it difficult to work on their own. Again, look at the words. Some team members, not all. So some team members find it difficult to work on their own again. Yes, do you want to take a try? Adjourning. Remember, the adjourning phase has come to the end. This statement is saying some members are going to find it very difficult to work on their own again. So they work together as a team, the project is done and dusted, and now we're moving out on our own. Mourning or adjourning, 2 marks. We're going to look at 4.2.3. Team members question each other's ideas and opinions. I'm questioning you as to whether or not you did your homework. And you say you've done it and I say you haven't done it. Now we have conflict. Team members question each other's ideas and opinions. Conflict. Storming. Remember, storming is about the conflict. Norming is about the reconciliation, the settling down, getting back to normal. 4.2.4. Team members are not working together as they are competing for the team leader's position. Team members are not working together because they're competing for the leader's position. That is going to cause, wait for it, drum roll, conflict, which leads to storming. Remember, it is the storming phase where the conflict takes place. People are not wanting to work together because they are jostling, they are climbing for the leader's position. They want to be the leader. So guess what? There's going to be more than one individual that wants to be the leader, and it's going to create that conflict. So therefore, it is known as the storming stage. 2.5, I'm still identifying the stage of team development in each of the following statements. Team members compromise their ideas and accept they need to work in #neon lights harmony with one another. So now I've come together. We are compromising. Okay, I'll do this and you can do this because we are working in harmony with one another. So now things are settling down. They're getting back to normal. And wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Yes, 100% correct. It is norming. Norming, that stage where everything is settled down, we've reconciled our differences, we're now working in harmony. Grade 12, stages of team development become super important because it can be easy marks if you identify the statements. But you need to know that the statements are not going to be obvious. There's a little word or two that help you along the way, but if you don't know your stages, you're going to get confused. We're now moving on to question 4.3. Now we're talking about conflict management. When we talk about conflict management, you as learners and candidates should be able to identify and explain causes of conflict. But just be careful, do not confuse causes of conflict with a grievance procedure or problem-solving steps. Remember, the causes of conflict should always be related to the workplace. When we look at the question at 4.3, you will see that the cognitive verb is underlined. What do you need to differentiate between? You got concept number 1, grievance, conflict, concept number 2, and you need to give an example to support your answer. We've moved away from team development stages, and we're now on to differentiating between two concepts. Again, I'm asking you to look at the mark allocation. We are looking at 10 marks. You need to give an example, one example for each, and you need to differentiate. So whatever I say under grievance, I need to give the opposite here at conflict, and I need to make sure that I link it. So I need 4 marks per example, per concept, and I need to give an example of each to support my answer. So when I look at grievance, remember, grievance is with a G. You've got your line over there. You can only go up to a certain point, and then you need to take it to the next level. Whereas conflict is open. It's open to different opinions and different agreements or disagreements. So we need to differentiate. A grievance is when an employee is unhappy. So in other words, they have a problem, and therefore they have that problem and they're going to place a complaint. and it's within the workplace. So I've been discriminated against, I haven't been paid my wages, and now I'm going to lay a formal complaint. When I talk about conflict, I'm talking about a clash of opinions, a difference of point of view, a different idea, but it's still within the workplace. So both conflict and grievance take place within the workplace. However, conflict is when we have a difference of opinion or a different viewpoint. Grievance is I'm unhappy, I've been felt as though I've been discriminated against, and therefore I'm putting in a formal complaint. So remember, grievance is I take it to the next level. And remember, when I deal with a grievance, I'm dealing with a procedure, a formal procedure. When I'm dealing with conflict, I'm just dealing with a difference of opinion. A grievance is an individual or a group that has a work-related issue. When I'm talking about conflict and I have a disagreement, it is between two or more parties. And again, it's in the workplace. Conflict is a disagreement. We don't have a problem. We're just sitting around the table and we're having a disagreement. When we deal with a grievance, I'm dealing with an individual that has been discriminated against based on a work-related issue. And based on that, I'm going to lay a complaint because I am unhappy. I have a problem. And remember, differentiate my cognitive verb. I am looking at split marks. 4 for grievance, 4 for conflict. And now I need to complete the example, which is the second part of the sentence. Under grievance, I'm dealing with the example of discrimination. Under conflict, I'm giving you the example of miscommunication. A mark for each example gives you a submax for grievance and a submax for conflict. 5 marks each gives us a total of 10. I remind you, you need to link grievance with conflict, conflict with grievance, like for like, to create the link. And it becomes very important that a clear distinction is made between the meanings. This will help you understand the difference between A, conflict resolution techniques and steps, and B, the procedure to deal with a grievance. So in other words, giving examples of a grievance. Conflict occurs between two people that have a difference. Hence, the conflict resolution technique can be regarded as an informal process. It does not take time. No minutes of the meeting needs to be kept when we are ironing out our differences. But when we are dealing with a grievance, I am aggrieved, I'm upset, I am unhappy. It involves one person that wants to lodge a grievance within the workplace. Hence, the focus will only be on that aggrieved employee. 4.4. We are dealing with Leletu shuttle services. Again, I am looking at identifying the type of difficult personalities that is displayed by the two individuals within the scenario. We cannot start reading the scenario until we've read the question. Again, I'm going to say to you that you need to be able to use the table that is provided for you as a guide. It has to be a guide that guides you as to how to answer the question. You need to identify the type of difficult personality for Albert, employee 1, and you need to identify the second difficult personality, Njabula, as number 2. And I need to provide a motivation. Where am I going to get the motivation? I'm going to get the motivation from the scenario. Now again, as I stated in the previous questions, the first statement is just getting you into the groove, into the vibe of the scenario, the setting. Look at statement 2, look at statement 3, where each of the individuals, the employees, are spoken about within the sentence. Identify the type of difficult personality and motivate by quoting. Grade 12s, we have to quote the full complete sentence. Leluti shuttles provide transport services for tourists in Sharpeville. Does that have any bearing on the difficult personality? No. But now we move to the employee number 1. A well-experienced employee in the transport industry refuses to take instructions from management. Already, you need to be careful because you're dealing with a well-experienced employee. That should start ringing a bell. And refuses to take instruction from management. Another bell. Njabula, the supervisor at LSS, is always arguing and fighting with the clients. Alarm bells. Why? It's a type of difficult personality. So we look at our answers. We are looking at Albert being the expert. Now again, an expert can only be somebody who's had the experience, that has been through it, that knows what's going on. You have the expertise. And if we remember correctly, in the scenario, it said Albert is a well-experienced employee. So our motivation is quoted directly from the scenario, but grade 12s, it is not paraphrased or rephrased. It is quoted directly from the scenario. Full complete sentence, it's going to be issuing you with 1 mark for the motivation, 2 marks for identifying the difficult personality. Njabula, remember, he's always arguing and fighting with his clients. That should ring a bell, being aggressive. 2 marks for identifying the type of personality. And then your motivation taken directly from the scenario above in a full complete sentence. Note we have not added his name in, the employee's name, because here we have indicated who the employees are. Be very careful when you write down your employee and your difficult personality. If you are not going to use the table as a guide, then you need to be careful as to how you structure your answer. The link, the employee and the difficult personality must link up with the motivation. Do not award marks for the motivation if the type of difficult personality was incorrectly identified. Grade 12s, if you give us aggressive here and expert here, you will get it wrong. You will not be awarded if this is incorrect. The motivation can be correct, but if the personality that you have identified is not correct, you will not be awarded the mark. So, two-part question. We're now dealing with 4.4.2, where we are recommending a strategy that you can use in each type of difficult personality. When we looked at Albert, we said that he was an expert. You, as a grade 12 learner, should be able to give us advice or recommend or suggest something that we can do when it comes to an expert. Now, again, I'm going to suggest that you look at how you structure your answer. The table that you may or may not use needs to be clear, or the employee that you're talking about needs to be clear, and it needs to link to the strategy. When we deal with an expert, you need to know your facts. When you're dealing with an expert, you need to know your facts. 2 marks for one strategy. Remember, look at your mark allocation. It is 4 marks, and there needs to be one strategy per employee. When we look at the aggressive personality type, do not allow them to be hostile towards each other. 2 for expert, 2 for aggressive. It gives you a total of 4 marks. We're now moving on to question 4.5, where we need to identify, again, identify the causes of conflict applicable in each statement. 4.5.1, the dream team is not willing to work with the team who always receives awards. Remember, the cause of conflict. So you are always receiving awards all the time at your school. That's direct competition. It's rivalry. 2 marks. 4.5.2, employees do not complete their tasks effectively as clear instructions are not always provided. The clear instructions leads me to believe that there is poor communication or a lack of communication or even a lack of leadership for 2 marks. 4.5.3, employees always argue over the use of #neon lights important equipment to accomplish their tasks. The key here is the use of equipment. They're arguing about it. I'm looking for the cause of conflict. I'm looking for a lack of resources or poor organization. 4.5.4, some employees cannot cope with a large number of tasks given to them. For me, the key concept there is the large number of tasks given to them. Here I'm talking about workload, I'm talking about deadlines, I'm talking about work pressure. Any of those will be accepted. When we look at 4.6, we are now looking at the importance of team dynamic theories in improving team performance. Remember, 4 marks, explain. Explaining split ticks. I'm looking for the importance. Why must I have team dynamic theories? Why must I look at team dynamic theories in order to improving my team's performance? So when we look at our answers, team dynamic theories explain, tick, how effective teams work and operate. When I look at teams, I look at team dynamics, I'm able as a business to allocate specific tasks according to the specific roles of my team members. So it allows me to know who my team members are and who can I give what task to. You sitting in the classroom, your teacher asks, can you please go and fetch this for me? And she knows exactly who she can give that task to. So I need to understand the importance of team dynamic theories because I want to improve my performance within my team.